Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of El Local Podcast 831. I am your host, Eddie Gonzalez, and today I have Miguel Chavez joining us, a community member,
Good morning.
a citizen of Watsonville, and an aspiring podcaster,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
So good morning, man. welcome,
Hey.
welcome.
Good morning, Eddie. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
man.
thank you. And then shout out to you for the
Hooking it up.
coffee.
And some bread, man.
And some bread. Yeah. Thank you.
Whenever you're ready for it. Cheers, bro.
Cheers. So Miguel, you are, like I said, a member of the community.
Yes, sir.
Right? You're from Watsonville,
Born and raised.
born and raised. And you reached out to me for just to have a conversation,
Correct.
right? Just to have a conversation
Overall.
and just kind of like, you like what was going on here in the podcast. You like what I was doing, and I really appreciate that. And you told me that you kind of had a little podcast of your own. You know, you have it, you've tried it, kind of took a little step back a little bit,
Yeah.
right? But this is kind of like a launch party in a way sense too.
Yeah.
To kind of get people excited and going on your podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
and
bringing me on.
because we got pan, because we have coffee, your podcast is called Café con Pancast,
Yes, sir.
and that's to this day, like I was thinking about it. That's hilarious. That's great. That's catchy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, how did you come up with that name?
Well, first off, thank you for having me here, bringing me on, for responding to my message, for reaching out to me and having me here and making it happen. Café con Pancast came from an idea of exactly what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, growing up, like I mentioned, you're the only, a lot of times, family members, I don't know if this happens in a lot of like households,
Yeah.
but we have dinners at separate times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was happening at my house, where my siblings would each have, I would have dinner at one point and my parents at another point, and because they were working late hours as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if after dinner, my dad decided, hey, you know what, like I'm craving some bread, let's go get some bread. And he would go out while my mom would prepare chocolate, abuelita, or some coffee. And it would be the only time that we would be sitting together as a family, because the bread was there, it was fresh. A lot of the times it was freshly baked. And so I was coming up with a lot of different names. I was like, what can I call it? I was talking to my wife about it. And I was like, you know what? I was drinking coffee at the time. I was like, Café con Pan. We were sitting down drinking coffee. And I was like, Café con Pan podcast. And they're like, yeah, the Café con Pan podcast. And I was trying to come up with the logo or an idea of how to write it down, you know. And I was like, you know what? I don't like the Café con Pan podcast. And so what I did was I integrated pan with podcast. And so I was like, Café con Pancast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's I want to give credit to my wife. She's the one that she supported it fully. And she was like, that's perfect, babe.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
That's actually kind of clever too, because like when you first told me about it, when we sat down and met and we talked about it, like that was pretty clever, because it has such a good ring to it. Like Pancast. I don't know. I just find it very, very, very awesome and clever.
Thank you.
And I agree with that, right? Because and especially like in a Mexican household, right, Latino household, like you got sometimes different families living in one roof, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
grew
up like that, right? And obviously everyone's, you know, every family has their own structure and they have their own timeline and how they eat and everything. And so I totally agree with that. And but coffee and pan dulce, that's the one thing that brings everyone together. You know, when family comes visit, when you know that family's going to come visit, hey, let's go get some pan really quick. So, you know, we would go get a bunch of like bags full of pan, you know, and make a big old coffee pot, you know. And so they'd sit down and catch up, you know, family. And then someone will walk by that, you know, might be living in the house, right? Like I said, different families.
Yes.
Like, ay, pan, ay, pues un cafecito aquí.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah. It's funny you're saying that, and it's taking me to, we have family in the Thousand Oaks area. And yeah, definitely we arrive usually around noon, and late at night, my tia, she's like, well, go get some pan.
Yeah.
So that we could have some bread. And if it's not at night, it's the next morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I don't know, pan dulce, I'd like to call it, or that's our protein.
Yeah, right.
It's like our poison, man.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't know, not discriminating against anyone, but I don't know any Mexican that does not love pan dulce.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you know what? I agree with that. And even there's people like, right, they're like, oh, I can't eat carbs or I'm working out.
Yeah.
They find a way. They'll skip their, they'll do a little meal like.
Or they'll cut a concha in half.
Yeah.
I'll just have
cheat
half.
meal. Yeah.
But they won't skip it.
Yeah. Dude, what's your favorite?
My favorite, I grew up loving the little bars, the barritas with the butter and the sugar on them.
Okay.
Or if it wasn't that, it was the puerquitos.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Gosh, man. I mean, you can't go wrong with a good concha. Like concha is like universal.
Yeah.
I feel like el puerquito and la concha are the universal signs
of
for pan dulce.
Pan dulce, yes.
Gosh, man, I've had so many different ones over the years. Like I love croissants.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like the little croissant ones with the filling inside, the cream cheese and not filling.
You're making my mouth water just talking about it right now.
I know what else. There is the ones with las empanadas con crema.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the
those
cream
really
custard. Like I think those were the ones. Like that's.
Have you had the ones with they're stuffed with cream and jalapeno?
Oh yeah, los bolillos.
Those. Yeah.
So yeah, the bolillos.
See, too many to pick from.
I know.
But it's almost like there's a lot of people that I've seen a buddy of mine. He's going on like taco truck tours right now around town, and it's like I'm thinking we should do like a
pan dulce
tour of every single.
Right, like all right, let's see who has the best pan dulce.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard because like it's kind of like the same recipe, right?
Correct.
So like, how would you tell the difference of like,
Yeah.
So like, it's funny because like you go around town, like they all have the same bag, all white, right?
Universal white bag.
They have the same conchas, right? As far as like the style and all that, and some puerquitos, because puerquitos is pretty much at the end of the day, what is it? Accumulation of all the leftover, right? And then just kind of blend it up and make it all together. And can't even tell the difference.
Yeah, no. You know what you're talking about, universal, and it's like, it's your dad walks in or a family member walks in with the white bag. It's the universal sign of like, oh yeah,
you already know.
I'm gonna have some delicious bread right now.
you already know.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bakeries. So I have relatives, like distant relatives that own a pan dulce shop here in Watsonville. It's off of East Lake. But my favorite place to always go is Guadalajara Bakery, the one right there next to Santa Fe in the back, next to the YMCA.
That's really good.
Yeah, that was a go-to spot, and I just have a lot of fun memories. And I know a lot of people have different ones, but it's a comfort food. It's a comfort food.
It is, man. It is a comfort food. It's definitely after a long day at work too, when the dinner is not ready.
Yeah, you
have the little tray with the bread in there, and I tend to. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have a snack. And why do I go to pan dulce? It's just good. Yeah, it's great. It's delicious.
So a lot of memories, a lot of it's great. Miguel, so you are born and raised here in Watsonville,
correct?
Right.
And besides 2 years that I lived in Arizona,
so kind of tell me a little bit about your upbringing, right? So I know how old are you? Like
I'm 34. Just turned 34 last month.
Okay, well, happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're around the same age, so I love hearing people's different takes and different experiences growing up, right? Because Watsonville obviously has changed over the years, big time change over the years. And I still remember a lot of places that are just dirt hills, right? Like for that entire Target parking lot was all dirt, where the new city council building is, you know.
I remember they used to put the circus there. Man.
Yeah, the circus and then the tent and so there's been a lot of changes. But what's been like one of your fondest memories? Kind of grew up in Watsonville. Talk about like your growing up and your experiences as a kid, here in town.
Well, it's funny. Last night we were having dinner at Mountain Mike's, and I was telling my wife, my parents always took us to Mountain Mike's. the memory of, like I mentioned, the circus where the new city hall building's at. Growing up in town, it's been a beautiful place. It's a lot of people, they're like, oh, Watsonville, I don't like it. I need to move out. I moved out for 2 years and I'm back. And when I came back, I was like, why did I ever leave this place? You know, there's a lot of great memories. I actually grew up around the Freedom Boulevard, Green Valley area. So I would ride my bike around that block. Yeah. All around the fields, through where the old Watsonville Hospital is at. And just watching the community grow, watching people drive by, and you see a lot of people, and it just makes you happy to see that these people they love growing here. I love the fact that it's a farming community, if you will. And excuse me, we went from apples to strawberries. It's now Strawberryville here. But if people remember, it used to be known for apples and orchards, and hence you see all the apple orchards down. What is it? Freedom down to 5 Mile. The park at 5 Mile, Ramsey Park, which is getting renovated right now. I miss that giant slide. I miss being a little kid.
Oh, I know, right?
I don't know if our mayor will tune in, but please bring back the silver slide.
That was the one thing that I had during the time that they kind of were asking the community for input and all that. I'm like, dude, you guys got to keep the slide. Yeah. Like, find a place and shrine it, or monumentize it, like something, but like keep it. You know, it's a big history piece in our childhood. You know,
to us 30-years, 20-years now, we remember that. My daughter remembers it. She's like, I hope they bring it back.
Yeah, and so, I hope so too. I hope so, but every time I pass by it in the bag, it's not there. They probably took it out. It's like, dude, at least like. I mean, those hot summer days.
You would get the cardboard.
Yeah. You throw the sand on the cardboard and just slide down.
Faster, quote unquote.
Oh my gosh! And then there's so many times where like, it's like you knew when someone was getting on the slide for the first time and didn't know what to expect. And you knew like, oh, dude, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then they go down. It's like either it burns or like they're going so fast.
Like they didn't prepare for the landing. They were not expecting it. Yeah. Sometimes you would go too fast, and next thing you know, you're sitting on the sand.
I know.
You're like, what happened?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So like that's hopefully City of Watsonville, please.
Yes.
I hope
please
you guys have it stored somewhere. And they're like, all right, we're going to implement it back somewhere.
If not, they're going to listen to us and going to be like, oh, man, go undismantle that.
Right? Or at least, like, use that metal and do something with it. So, like, that
would be really
stays,
cool.
So, I don't know. But
yeah, those are some of my memories growing up here.
Yeah. And so, where'd you go to high school? And where'd you go to school as you kind of got older?
So, I grew up, like I said, in the Freedom Boulevard, Green Valley area. I went to Calabasas Elementary, which so a lot of people look at me and they're like, what? I guess a lot of people are more of the Freedom and the other schools. I can't come up with the names right now, sorry. But I went to Calabasas all first kinder through 6th grade. Then I went to Rolling Hills Middle School, and I went to Pajaro Valley High School. I'm the second class to graduate.
Okay.
I want to show this off. I'm part of the first class that graduated attended all 4 years at its current site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I take that with a lot of pride.
A lot of pride, yeah.
So,
I got a lot of buddies that went there. We're the first class, right?
Oh, nice,
and I know some people that also, well, it's a small town. Like, you get to know each other, and then playing sports, like, and I coached there too. So I know the history of PV a little bit and all that, but to be that first class, right, to sit at a high school all 4 years, right, a brand new one. From your point of view, what was that, being at a new school? I mean, it's kind of like, that it's a new school, but you're not really, how'd I say it, the experience of it, right? Because it's brand new. Everything, the facilities are new and everything.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, that's like the only thing so you don't know any other kind of high school, but like,
correct,
being that first class to sit there for the first 4 years straight, what was that like?
It was beautiful. I remember the first year I was there, we were not even able to use, if I'm not mistaken, it's the H building, the one closer to the field. So, using just one half of the school was pretty interesting, and it made you wonder. I always kept wondering, like, well, how many of us are there here, and how are they able to fit 2 classes here?
Yeah.
To then the following year, everybody was really excited to go into the new buildings.
Yeah.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, my first year, we were not even able to use the gymnasium and the weight room. We weren't using it.
Yeah.
So a lot of our activities were outdoors, and it was great to get new tables, new desks, new whiteboards, classrooms,
everything was
bathrooms, everything was new. So it was a fun experience. The teachers made it great for us as well. So it was fun to be experiencing it with the teachers, which a lot of these teachers, I imagine, had prior experiences at other schools. And I feel like it was rewarding to them to be able to use brand new classrooms and material.
Yeah.
And so it felt great
Yeah.
to experiment that.
Yeah. You know, I went to Aptos High, and my senior year my 4 years, they restructured the entire campus and put the new football field, which I was the first class to play football.
Oh,
you know, I'll have the stadium, the first class to like play on that field. They built like a new gymnasium and auditorium. And so we were supposed to have it for our senior year, but we didn't. But like they allowed us, my class, to be the first ones to enter it and play basketball and just kind of tour it and check it out, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's TMI, but I was like very excited for the bathrooms. I was like, you know what? These bathrooms are going to be completely brand new, like clean, fresh, you know, because, you know, like school bathrooms they're not clean.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to be the first one to use it.
Yeah.
So like that day I held it in, and then when we were, you know, able to go in and check it out and all that, straight to the bathroom. Dude, clean.
Yeah.
Untouched.
You felt comfortable.
I felt comfortable, you know, which was like the first time ever like at school, because like I said, it's all messy and everything. So I guess you could say I left my mark.
No, definitely going from the elementary to Rolling Hills, and the same feeling, man. No, you felt great going into those bathrooms at PB, and I'm pretty sure, whether people want to admit it or not, they were really stoked about the bathrooms being brand new.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like not tainted, not, you know, people were like, okay, keep it clean and all. But now it's like, you know, you check out those bathrooms out in public school, and it's like, dude, they're horrible.
Yeah,
you know, kids are, you know, not wanting to go to the bathroom. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy, but.
I remember a guy who, TMI again, he would never go, and he would even, like, you know what, I feel sick just to go home.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, just go, man. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. But shout out to brand new buildings.
Yeah, shout out to brand new buildings. They really do help. And it's not the schools, excuse me, not taking care of them. It's unfortunately us, the students, who don't appreciate what we have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sometimes, so kids, if you guys are listening, take care of your bathrooms.
Yes. Take care of your schools, take care of your teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miguel, so after high school, you know, you graduate, you're the second class.
Barely graduated.
Barely graduated. Okay, but you graduated.
Yeah.
You graduated.
I walked.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yes,
you know, it doesn't matter, you know, how you get there, but
as
long as you get there. And so you graduate and you're an adult, you're 18, right? I mean, a lot of us graduate at that age. What do you do with your life? I think we all have the sense of, you know, am I going to go to college? Am I going to go to work?
I have freedom now.
I have freedom, you know, like you have responsibility in the sense of like like when, I joke around with all my nieces and nephews and people that I know, like, when they turn 18, hey, rent's due on the 1st, and so in a way, like, there's all this happening with everyone, right? So
Right.
what is the first thing you do, or what do you decide to do at that time? Do you go to school? Did you start working right away?
Yeah, I started working actually my last semester in high school.
Oh, okay.
I started working only weekends. I worked in Santa Cruz, and I was only allowed to work weekends during that time. I started back in like February, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna go back a little bit before graduating. Freshman and sophomore year, I started getting into a lot of trouble, hanging out with the wrong crowds, and so that's kind of where my life started taking a turn. Hence, like, why I barely graduated. My mom actually wanted to pull me out of high school sophomore year. That's how much trouble I was getting into. Junior year, I get into a big fight. I get arrested, and then I get suspended. They didn't expel me because my mom went and fought. She's like, you can't expel him. You can't expel him. And thankfully, shout out to my counselor at that time. She was like, all right, Miguel doesn't have a history here at the school of getting in so much trouble. His grades are middle, he's hanging in there. All right, we're going to give him another opportunity.
Yeah.
So I changed my life around sophomore year. Start hanging out with a bit of a better crowd, but still getting in trouble outside of school. My last year, I had to do a lot of community service. I did not have the most fun senior year, I could say. Yeah. A lot of grades to make up, and I did not want to go to, nothing wrong with going to like Renaissance or any school outside of the primary high schools that we have. I did not want to go there, so it was a lot of like hitting the books, doing a lot of after school tutoring and whatnot. And in the middle of all that, I'm still able to go and cause some trouble, which shout out to my mom and my dad who put up with me. For a long time, I did not understand them, and I blamed them for a lot of what I went through. But I'm 34. I could say maybe I barely learned to forgive them and forgive myself and accept the fact that they only gave me the knowledge that they have.
Yeah.
I heard it in a song. It says, my parents raised me with the knowledge that they had, and everything they only knew, and the rest I educated myself. Yeah. And I relate to that because that's pretty much what's been happening with my life the last 6-7 years. So graduate high school, I'm already working. Come summer, I graduate, and like I said, freedom. I say freedom because I took it as like I have the liberty to do whatever I want now. Yeah. I wanted to join the Marines. My mom did not want me to, neither did my dad. So I kind of like, for a long time, I blamed them for not being able to join. And until recently, like I said, I accepted, hey, if I wanted to be responsible, I would have gone because I had no trouble staying out past 10 p.m. Yeah. So it was more of my decision. I realized I was probably not mature enough at the time, or I did not want to be responsible enough at the time. And like I said, our parents only give us the knowledge that they know. Yeah. I don't know everybody. We have different backgrounds. My parents did not, from what I know, they did not finish school, And
I think that's the case for a lot of parents here in this community, right? Like, they have some knowledge.
Correct.
Up to a certain degree of school, and after that, like, they had to work.
Yeah.
I think like my dad, he had high school, right, education, but he had to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of the parents, like, they come over from Mexico or they come over from wherever, and it's just like they have a middle school education, elementary school education, so and they had to work.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you're right. Like, they teach us what they know.
Yes.
The most, sometimes it's it's not a lot, you know, but for them it is.
Yes.
So I understand that when you say like they taught us what they know, and sometimes like we get angry because we're like, why don't we know this, you know, and we kind of blame them, but it's like, you know,
or why couldn't, like in my instance, it's like why I would blame them for, they would always tell me like, do your work, study, this, and that. But I would always blame them for like, well, you're not giving me a good example yourself.
mm-hmm.
I don't see you doing these things. But like I said, at the time, I didn't understand. And they were only showing me what they could. They were trying to lead me through a better path, one that they could not go through themselves. Because like you just mentioned, my parents both came from Mexico, and it was just, come work at the canneries, come work in the fields. Fortunately, my dad was a handyman, and he was able to get a lot of different jobs, say plumbing, carpentry, etc. But they did not really have any benefits like insurances or whatnot, you know. So they're limited to resources, you know. And so, yeah, I would blame them for a lot of my mistakes. And I think that's also another reason why it was easier to go cause trouble or get in trouble and just be irresponsible myself.
Yeah.
Because it was like, this is easier than focusing. My parents are not showing me this. What did they do? What are they doing to try to like help me? Yeah. I would see a lot of my friends who were better, whose parents were a little better prepared, or my friends are second generation. And I had friends going to St. Francis High School. After graduation, I hear about them. Oh, I'm going to Cabrillo. And I went to Cabrillo for 1 year. I'll mention that right now. I went to Cabrillo for 1 year, and that was it. I dropped it, and I was like, you know, at the time I was like, you know what, the books are not for me.
Yeah,
I don't like to sit down and learn, or get educated, quote unquote, you know. And so I found work was easier, and still, after 18, I was getting in a lot of trouble. One of the first things I did, I felt really cool. I was like, oh, cool. I can't buy alcohol, but I'm going to go buy a pack of cigarettes. And I started smoking actually at a very young age. If I could turn the page back a little bit and return to my childhood, I started smoking and drinking at the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that, the weekends, that's what they were for me. I got my first hangover was like at 14, hanging out with wrong crowds. And the sad part about this was that it was family, you know. And I just wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in with my primos, you know. And so I was smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and getting drunk. 16, 17, 18, age 17 through 24 were probably the worst years of my life as far as consumption, because I started endeavoring through other drugs. Fortunately, I did not hit anything hard, but the weekends were for party, man.
And so during that time, you know, like I said, you blamed your parents. You know, you blamed, right. You're seeking that that comfort, that, you know, you're trying to feel something.
Correct.
Right. And so, what at that time, what was it that you were trying to feel, right? And did you kind of know what you were like? Because I think a lot of times, like, we do things, right?
Correct.
And sometimes we do it without really knowing why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like, we do it knowing our pain, right? So were you running from something? Were you just like trying to fill that void for something? Like, at that time, at that age, like, what did you know what was going on with you?
At that time, I think I was just trying to, I surrounded myself with a lot of, like, at the moment, I didn't think they were bad people, but there were a lot of, like, friends that just partied. And I think I was just trying to surround myself with a family, you know? And when I was known, they used to call me El 24 for a little bit because every time after 21, I would always bring a 24 pack. You know, it was like, Miguel, they knew, they're like, oh, we invite Miguel, Miguel's bringing a 24 pack. You know, because my thing was make money and spend it with my friends, my family. And when people wanted something, to this day, I'm a little loose, if that's the right way to say it, with my money. And my wife tells me it's a bad thing. And I'm like, but I was always like a people pleaser, if you will. I was trying to satisfy other people, and I wanted to get admired. I wanted to, they would be like, hey, we need more alcohol. Boom, bring it. Hey, we need more of this. Boom, bring it.
I got you. Yeah.
You know, like me. Or, you know what, I'll go get it. What do you guys want? And I wouldn't mind. What do you want? You want a 6-pack of this? You want a 6-pack of that? All right.
Yeah.
Here comes, hey, help me with everything I want.
Yeah. You try to please people. Yeah.
I try to pleasing people. And at the same time, it was like pleasing them, and it was just like satisfying myself too. I felt great doing that for them, you know? And I took it. It was like, it's a win-win. If they want to keep on partying, I get to keep on partying.
Yeah.
I get to get drunk tonight. You know, I get to get high tonight.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I wasn't really aware at the moment of what I was running from or why exactly. I look back at it now, and it's like I was trying to find community, a family, you know, something, a piece that, in my opinion, I had been missing through a lot of my childhood. Because if I go back, there's a certain point where I don't know if it was me cutting my family off and staying distant because of issues at home. But I wasn't the kid that got a lot of like love per se. The only times I got a hug or a congratulations or an I love you was when something bad was happening. So I would get in trouble, and I think that's why we seek to do trouble too growing up, because that's probably like the only time you got attention from your parents because they were so busy at work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that is 100% true. Because I work with kids, right? And I worked in summer camps, and I worked with like from elementary to high school, right? And so in different settings. And yeah, that's true. Like kids that act out a lot, it's because they're seeking that connection. They're seeking that validation. And the only time they ever get it is when they're causing this mother.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad, but like it's reality.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
You know, and I think that carries into adulthood and a lot of issues, like, you know, in the future and all that. But yeah, I agree with that. Like that's what we seek for, you know.
Definitely. I could say that it was probably the only times that my parents would give me 100% their attention whenever I was in trouble, because other than that, I remember sometimes I would try to be like, hey, Dad, I love you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
I was like, I love you. Nah, you're up to something. So it's like I wasn't able to give my parents that much love either, because it's like I can't even tell them I love them or give them a hug, because automatically it's like, nah, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
What did you do? Something's about to pop up, you know.
Are you the only child?
No, I have one older sibling and 2 younger ones.
Okay, so you're like right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, usually the middle ones are little rebels, you know.
Yeah.
But and so you wouldn't get that also from your siblings. Like, how was your relationship with your siblings? You know, because you struggle with your parents, right? As far as like getting that attention and all that.
Yeah.
Did siblings kind of feel the same way? You guys kind of had.
Yeah. Talking to them now and talking to them as the years went by, we agreed that we did not have the best childhood and that our parents only gave us what they could and what they knew.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm going to put this out there, like, I don't really get along with my sister. We're from we have 2 different fathers. And so that's another thing growing up. There was a lot of division within the family because there was this imprint in her. My mom told her, you better get your shit together growing up, because myself and my 2 younger siblings were from the same father.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you better get your stuff together, because the minute these guys grow up, te van a mandar por otro tubo, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so there was division in my family, unfortunately, and to this day, it still lingers a little bit, but it's improved.
Yeah,
it's improved. We're now that we're adults. Unfortunately, my parents cannot agree to something back in the day and set a better foundation for us to where it would be more merry, if you will. And that's just like the environment we grew up in. We always sensed that division. There was a problem. It's almost like either my brothers and I were untouchable to my dad, and then my sister was untouchable to my mom.
Yeah,
because it was kind of like, no, you're going against her because of this reason, or you're going against them because of that reason, and it was a sucky environment.
You know, that's very tough, and I feel like that happens a lot. You know, I mean, just in general. I mean, I speak from experience in the sense that, like, even like step siblings.
Yes.
Right. Half siblings too. You know. And there's something about that, like, in our culture, right, that happens a lot. And so it sucks because, you know, as a kid, you want the same love. You want fairness, right?
Correct.
And I think that's also a very important thing, and why I also, again, stories and just, you know, growing up and people getting to know people is like, they have resentment towards parents or siblings or all that, you know, because it's like, you know, that dynamic.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's very common, I feel, for families to be divided because of, like, you know, half siblings, step siblings, you know. And there's like a resentment too, I feel, sometimes with parents.
Yeah.
You know, I've had conversations with friends and all that, and I do, like, that's not my dad, but my mom married him, or my dad married her, you know, and, you know, they had their own kids, so, and that love, right? It's like you get married into a family, and then they have kids, and then that kid gets all the love that you never got.
Correct.
Right? Because that, you know what? I have 2 older sisters. They're half sisters. Then with my dad is 3, and then my mom had another one with someone else.
Right.
And so my sisters always had that affection for my mom. I had that love, right? Because they, you know, grew up. And in us, you know, my parents got divorced. Like, there was like, my mom wasn't the best mom, you know, 100%. Mm-hmm. But then she had another kid, and the love that he got from my mom, that's like, dude, what the heck? Impeccable. Like, what the heck, dude? Like,
where was that for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And for the longest time, there was anger, right? And even, like, kind of anger towards my little brother, you know? But I thank God for my dad, because he told me, like, it's not his fault. Your little brother, it is not his fault. He's coming into this world and
without a clue of what's
going on.
Without a
clue. You know, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, he's growing up. He looks up to you guys. He loves you guys. Like,
yeah.
Don't take it out on him.
Yeah.
And even him is like, but still, like, don't even take it out on your mom. Because if you do that, it's going to affect you, not her.
Right.
You know? And so I don't talk about my mom a lot, you know, but it took me till, like, my mid, like, 25, 26, 27 to let go of that hurt that my mom had caused me, you know, growing up. She wasn't the best mom, you know, for the longest time I had that that kind of envy, resentment towards people who had, like, that relationship with their mom.
Yes.
Right?
Or their parents.
You know?
To say the least.
And so it's like, I envied it, you know, but silver lining, and I tell people this a lot. I had a grandma, my dad's mom, and I have 4 aunts that they were the role model. They were the mother figure in my life and still in my life. My grandmother during her time of being here on earth, and even now my aunts, like they've all played a role in raising and impacting who I am. So like, yeah, I didn't have that mother per se core figure, but I thank God that he gave me these other women to substitute for what I was lacking. But yeah, it took a while.
Definitely. It's like I mentioned earlier, it hasn't been until like the last 6-7 years that I started realizing and going through my head and thinking, why do I feel this way? Why is there so much anger in me towards my mom? What did she do wrong? What did my dad do wrong? What is wrong with me? You know, what can I do to change my life around? You know, and you said something about having resentment towards family members. Sometimes it's hard to even bring peace within you because maybe you might be over it and you'd be like, you know what, I'm at peace. And then you come trying to be in good terms with that family member, your sibling, and maybe they're not ready, you know, and it becomes even harder for you to be at peace. Yeah. And then like you mentioned as well, you see, I think that's another part of like anger that grew in me, seeing a lot of my friends with their families. I would hang around my friends' houses a lot more than I did at home. Yeah. For the same reason, there was more unity. The parents were together, joyful. Yeah, every family has their problems, but they probably would not show it when people were over. My parents a lot of times didn't care. To this day, they don't care. They're like, if we're having a problem, we're having a freaking problem. Yeah. And unfortunately, I brought that onto my relationship, where for some time, I would tell my wife, I'm like, I don't care. I'm pissed, and this is how I am. And you know, I carried it over to my marriage, and it took a couple of years for me to like understand. That's when I started trying to change myself, because I was like, if you would listen to the arguments that I had early on in my marriage, a lot of the times it's like, well, I remember saying clearly like, well, this is all I know. Yeah. This is how I know how to resolve problems. You know, I had a tough upbringing, and I was like, I got to stop blaming the past and then start taking action towards what can I do from this point forward to better my relationship, because I see my parents' relationship and I'm like, I don't want to grow old and be like that, you know, because all that did was separate my family, you know, and it's taken a lot of work. To this day, I'm still working on it. You know, nobody's going to be perfect, but I can say, and my wife can testify and say that I have changed a lot, thankfully. And it's, it takes a lot of work and a lot of acceptance of what was missing in the past, what is missing right now, and just trying to better from it and acknowledging your mistakes, really.
And kind of touch base on like why we're here also, because I want to touch into that, and kind of like the core of what we're doing. So you wanted to start a podcast. You started a podcast, right?
Yes.
The Café con Pancast. It kind of, and I get it because like you start something, you got an idea, and then you move forward, but then life happens, or like you just take a step back, and that's what happened with this podcast too. Like the idea was there 2020, and then I took a step back, kind of worked on it. Like life happens, you know, to finally, I got it going and off the ground. But you had talked about off camera when we met that the theme of your podcast, and I think that's important to know and talk about right now, because that is an issue that is facing the world right now.
Correct.
And the theme is, you want to explain to it like what it is?
Yeah, so Café con Pancast, the idea came very early at the beginning of last year, say like February, March. I started working. I was like, you know what? We're growing up listening to a lot of podcasts right now, you know, and so I get a lot of positive information from them, and a lot of they're, especially if you're like listening to, I want to say motivational podcasts. And so I was kind of like, hey, like, if you meet me outside, I don't know what my friends could say about me, but I'm a very social person. I love talking to people. My daughter gets embarrassed because sometimes we're like at the Safeway and or a Target or whatever, and there's a person in the aisle, and I just start talking to them about anything, mainly like, hey, great day, you know, whatever. And my daughter, you know them? I'm like, no. No, but you talk to them. And my wife too, she's like, but you talk to them like you've known them for a while. Well, I'm just a very social person, you know. So Café con Pancast, I wanted to bring people on, mainly similar to what you're doing, people around the community, talking about upbringings, advice that they would have for adults our age, for especially I wanted to aim the teenage age gap and people in their 20s, and also try to send a message of positivity and inspire people to go out and get help. Yeah, you know, because I think we're afraid of getting help of some random person knowing my life,
and kind of more in the male aspect too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you said getting help.
Yes.
Right. And I think there is this standard for men.
Yeah.
That nut up or shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah, definitely.
Like suck it up.
Yeah.
You know. So your podcast is, and what you're looking to aim for is helping teenage boys, young men, yeah, adult men. What would you say?
Like open
up and really
try to change that
stigma, the setting, you know, this machismo, like the world standard of like how a man should be. Yeah. You know, because what do they say? Men don't cry.
Men don't cry.
You know, like there's
men don't tell. You know. Yeah. Even at work, I would tell my manager when I wanted to report someone, I was like, dude, I don't want to snitch. And they're like, it's not snitching. You're trying to look for the better of yourself, and the safety of others if someone is causing some sort of problem. You know? And especially for young men out there, we just talked about my childhood. You talked a little bit about yours, and I believe that a lot of us men, nothing against women, but women are more allowed to open up and be quote unquote softer, if you will, you know, and it's more normal for them to like go out and get help, and it's not looked at as a bad thing. Yeah. And whereas men, for a long time, I remember when I started telling my dad, like, hey, I'm starting to go to church. We grew up going to church, but we stepped away from it. And I got married, started going to church, and my wife took me or invited me. I opened up, and I, at the beginning, was like, hell no. Yeah. I can't talk about my feelings with nobody. You know, I went out and got counseling as well, but it took me some time to accept it and say like, hey, I need to get someone else's support and experts support, you know, because for the same reason, like growing up, I never wanted to talk to the counselors that the school provided. I never wanted to talk to anybody, let alone I was like, dude, how embarrassing for me to let this person know what's going on in my life. And now here I am speaking into a mic, telling it's open source to anybody that wants to hear it now, you know. And there's no shame in that, because I feel, yes, it's okay to be manly, it's okay to be strong, you know, but also you should allow yourself to express yourself and let those emotions out, because if you're not taking them out through anger or drinking, you probably unconsciously are taking it out on your family, on your siblings, on the person driving next to you, you know.
Yeah. And that is I don't know if it's a hot take, but it is a not common take, right? And I think like, and the reason why I hope this kind of reaches someone, because I might get like different takes on it, right? And you're right, men don't ask for help, and maybe some people are watching this and like, oh, pues, sissies or whatever. There's still that mentality. I mean,
Pussy.
There's,
Sorry.
You're good, but like, and then there's maybe hopefully someone's like, dude, like I get that,
Yeah,
I get that, because the way we were raised in our culture, Mexican culture, right, is to ponte las pilas, work hard, go provide, go do all that.
Yeah.
Almost like fight or flight, stay at 100% the entire time, right?
Definitely.
And it's like like any sign of emotion is a sign of weakness.
Correct.
Yes. And there's like this machismo, aspect to it, right? And especially like I said, back to like our culture,
Yeah.
like, oh, lloras capaz para las mujeres y todo eso.
Yeah.
But I feel like times are changing, and I think like it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, suicide is up a lot.
Yeah.
In this world,
Yeah.
and especially amongst men.
Correct.
But yeah, just I think it's very important. I think this is important.
Definitely is, and I see parents, our generation. I go based on what I see in public and what I see in people's postings on social media, and I see that parents are more. I love seeing parents that are heavily involved with their kids. I personally don't like sharing a lot of what's going on in my family on social media, but whatever people do share, nothing wrong with it. I love seeing the parents being involved. I love seeing in person parents being loving. Again, parents our age being very loving, very attentive, and like I have told my daughter, like I have told nieces and nephews, it's like, hey, if you ever want to talk, you could talk to me. If you don't want to talk to me, there's resources out there for you to open up to, and there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. It's better for you to seek the help right now than for you to let this continue going on and it becoming something worse. There's like you were talking about suicide rate, and I wrote a couple notes from last night. It said online through the CDC that men make up to 50% of the population in the United States, but 80% of the suicide rate is amongst men. Yeah, the leading ages are 84 and over, but this one's the scary one. The second highest rating is ages 10 to 34. So what does that tell you? Like a lot of the kids 10 to 34, young adults, they're not getting attention. Yeah. And that rose from 2018, no, 2000, from the year 2000 to the year 2018, it rose 35% amongst men. And in 2023, the suicide rate for men was 4 times higher than it was women. Wow. That's a crazy stat if you ask me.
That is, and it makes me sad because that's why I like coaching. That's why I like working with youth, right? For me, because of, kind of what happened to me, my parents getting divorced and not, I look for outlets, right? And a lot of that, one of the outlets was playing sports. I thank God that my dad put me in sports. But I also attended, church, grew up in church, a youth group, So being a part of stuff like that, like really helped me and shaped me and mold me into the man that I am. And I think that's important and amazing that that's your target. Yeah. Right? Because again, this world, the way we are living now and the technology plays a big aspect. Oh, yeah. And these kids, these young teenage males, like they see all this and like this is how you're supposed to be a man, like todo, like a player and not respecting women, and just this whole way of living. Like, you have to have money, you have to have the newest sneakers, you have to have the newest iPhone, the new Labubu, full disclosure, Labubus are demonic, it's a whole nother thing. But
that's
like,
a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. But like, they're getting these, and not to say that there's not family, parents, dads that are raising them, right? Like 100%. Like you said, there's families out there that do, they're great parents. Everyone has their issues, but there's great parents.
Yeah.
But now, I think there's a third parent.
Oh yeah.
And that third parent in these this world with these families, you got the mom, got the dad, but it's society. It's the internet are also raising those kids.
And a lot of the times that third parent is with that child more than the actual parents.
Everyone has a phone.
Everyone has a phone.
And so what do the kids do all night or all day?
Yeah. And what do you see a lot of parents doing to 5, 6, 7-year-olds? They're like, they're throwing a fit, and it's like, here, shut up.
Yeah.
Or, Mom, can I borrow the phone? Yeah, go ahead. Just so I could have a conversation with Eddie in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we need to kind of like change that, if you will, because
I agree 100%. I am a person who says I hope for the best but expect the worst.
Correct.
And I agree. There's got to be change.
Yeah.
But that's hard. It's a hard change, because even us as like millennials, like we're that next generation of parents, we didn't grow up with phones, but like it's there.
Yeah.
We get sucked into it too,
quickly.
And so it's hard. And I think that's important, that, okay, if we're going to have our kids, right, they're going to be on the phone all the time, right? All right, let's give them a positive outlet. Let's give them something to listen to, something to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where like you kind of come in the picture, and what you're aiming,
trying to aim at. Yeah,
for,
definitely.
Yeah. So man, it's hard. And there's I saw it somewhere too, CDC, right? There's like the depression rate is going up.
Oh yeah,
and which leads to that. It's just, it's crazy. Like what is it that what is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it has a lot to do with, I believe, parents listening to their kids, paying, and not only when they're speaking to them, but listening to them in the way they express themselves around their friends, listening to them by paying attention to their grades.
Yeah.
What crowd are they hanging around with? And what am I doing that's affecting my child? Because a lot of the times, speaking for myself here, you look at your parents, and I go back to like when I was trying to resolve my problems in my marriage. It's like I try to resolve them the way I saw my parents resolve their issues. A lot of my drinking came from, it's like, hey, drinking is cool. My dad's always drinking.
Yeah.
Let me drink, Fortunately, unfortunately, my daughter got to see me heavily under the influence plenty of times. Now I can say one of the changes that I made is I'm 3 years, 9 months sober from alcohol now.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. It took a lot of work, and I think being the role model that you want to be for your kids. And I tell her, like, I'm not going to tell you to not go out and drink. It's just not for me, but do it be precautious with it, whatever you do. You were talking about giving them a positive outlet. I tell her too, she's on her phone, and I let her know, like, watch something positive, don't just follow the algorithm. Like, I want to see what happens to a bowling ball if you drop it on a trampoline. Like, and that's how you get sucked in, because you're going to be like, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What happens, And you see a lot of these like influencers, nothing wrong with being an influencer, but you got to remind the kid, like, that's a lot of the things that we share online, I see it in my family. You only share the good moments. And that's why I don't like sharing. I told my wife, that's why I don't like sharing stuff about my family, because I don't want to just post the positive and people don't know what's going on in the background.
Because, going back to kind of like how you said, where we want to please, the gram. We want to please the people who are following us. Like, sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
And I felt that too, because I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should start just posting like my issues. What's up? And I've always told people like, dude, I don't care. Like, I am a freaking open book. Like, what you see is what you get.
Definitely.
And dude, I mean, I'm going through some crap.
Yeah.
I have family issues. But then I didn't post it, because like, I don't want to scare anyone off.
But
yeah, like, what happened if you start posting like your real issues at home,
Yeah, it's funny you say that. A couple months ago I started posting about raising awareness about suicide and amongst men, and I like posting quotes, like psychologists or past philosophers, Bible verses. And so there was one period when I was trying to like really promote suicide awareness amongst men. And I started getting DMs from people, hey man, you okay? How you doing, bro? And I'm like, I'm good, what's up? They're like, well, man, your posts are all depressing. Like, you're depressing, man. Like, what's going on with your life? And I'm like, oh no, I'm good. I'm just trying to like promote, like, bring attention to this, And I saw a couple of my buddies reposting that, and I decided, man, like I have a small circle, but I know a lot of people in town. And so I was like, man, if I'm gonna reach out to this person. If I could be the change or someone that kind of like steers them in the positive direction. I don't know what they're going through, and I don't expect them to tell me. But if I could just, how would you say, like, be the light for a second, maybe I could change the direction of their mood.
Yeah.
Maybe they need some positivity in their lives. We don't know. Just like you said right now, I believe we're all going through something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't publicize it, but if we reach out to each other, just like a simple "Good morning, dude. How's it going? Hope you have a great day." Something.
Yeah.
I think that could totally change your direction, or it opens up that person to speak to you, and maybe back in the day you didn't have someone to speak to, but you could feel comfortable to be like, hey, you know what, man? Like, I'm not doing good.
Yeah. And you know what? That's important, because just even that, like, hey, hi, what's up? Like, just like the first word.
Yeah.
Right. Could be life changing.
Yeah.
Right. Could be like the mood setting.
Yeah.
And that's all they need to hear.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, like, again, going back to being a man, no, I'm not saying it's hard to be a man. Like, all those people that get out there and like, oh my gosh, you're being, no, it's a conversation. Sometimes, again, it's hard because the world says this is who you have to be.
Yeah.
This is how you have to be.
Yeah.
Right.
The movies
tell us like that's
shows.
who you are. That's what, and so it sucks because like we're so programmed and like conditioned to view it and feel that way. And how many times do, like, again, going back to the suicide rates and everything, like maybe a word to a person that, did that could have changed their life.
Yeah.
That could have been like the make or break moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. And I'm gonna go back a little bit to like the whole podcast. I started it March, April, January, April. I always have to go through my months. Yeah. And so I released the intro to the pod, and then I released another episode, and then boom, life happens.
Yeah.
I left it off back in late May, early June. I was gonna take a trip to Mexico, and we find out my wife's pregnant. We had been trying to have kids for our entire marriage. We lost a couple babies, plenty of babies. And so our marriage was filled with anxiety of these pregnancies and losing babies. And we're like, well, leave it up to God whenever he decides it's the right time.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned you guys had some
issues,
right? And
yeah,
you know, in that time, you lost some babies, right? Miscarriages.
Yeah. And
it's very, and this is what I've noticed, right? And I think, again, going back to what our main topic is, yes, the women carry it. They go through it. I'm not downplaying that, because they have it, their role. Correct. Because they have it in them, right? But not a lot of people talk about
what the man
goes through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so talk about that, if you will. Like,
yeah,
it's, and just to the anticipation of hearing you to talk about it is kind of, you know, because it's not something that's commonly talked about.
Yeah. So she was getting a lot of attention from family members, from our friends, our circle. And so it was tough going through it, because yes, I remember being told, well, you don't know what it's like, you know. And I was like, what do you mean I don't know what it's like? I'm losing a baby here too, you know. I'm going through it with you, you know. It's emotional, because you anticipate, you want to bring that child into this world, you know. You want to start a family. And so it was tough not giving the attention that she was given, you know.
You were kind of brushed under the rug, into the side.
It was like, and I totally understand, like I said, not to downplay. I praise women for their role in this world, and bringing a life into this world. You know, the pain, the suffering that they have to go through, the suffering of losing a child. It totally like changed my mind and my perspective on things. But yeah, I was being brushed off like, well, I don't blame my friends for anything. They're not at fault, but I was not getting asked like by a lot of my friends. I had a few ask, but not all of them were like, hey, well, how are you doing, Miguel? You know, and it was pretty tough to like sit on the sideline, if you will, and have to deal with this on my own.
Yeah.
You know, and I had moments. There was one miscarriage where my wife finally saw me break down in front of me. And to me, when we got the news, I remember we were at the hospital and we were told that we had lost the baby. She was going through a miscarriage, and I broke down in front of my wife, and I bent down. I like balled up into my knees, and I just like started bawling. And she came and she hugged me, and she's like, wow, like now I understand the pain that you go through.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. And that's why I say, I think our friends, we need to stop being men and stop bullying each other. Because a lot of the times it's like, I want to talk to somebody, and they're like, tough enough, dude. Like, no, like have a deep conversation with your brother.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a sibling, with your friend, you know. And allow that person to open up to you, even if you're just going to listen to them.
Yeah.
Try to just listen, because maybe they just want to be heard, and you're the only person that they feel comfortable talking to. So it was a very tough process. Like to this day, it makes me like choke up a little bit just remembering going back to it. And it was tough, man, being the man on that side 6 times, you know.
Wow.
6 times we went through it, and I praised the Lord for finally the 7th time. God's timing is always perfect, and he knows why things happen, and it prepared us for what ended up happening with my son and the pregnancy. It was a tough one too, because my son came with some heart issues, and so it was at any moment, like I can't remember right now, but blood levels were going down, heart rates were going up or they were going down. It was anxiety-filled pregnancy. And especially the fact that the first 6, we didn't even get past 4 months.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like when the 4th month came, I was like, oh God, like, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
Then we kept going to more appointments. Every appointment was filled with anxiety.
Yeah.
In hopes that we would get positive news all along the way. And then we find out he has heart issues, and it was like, whoa, man. Like, well, now the stakes are higher.
Yeah. Because at this point, like, he crosses that threshold of 4 months that you guys are usually didn't get past.
Correct.
And now you're having to figure out that, I can only imagine, like, yes, the 6 were very hard, but then you're oh my gosh, we're passing that, but then he's more developed, he's up there, and it's just like, what's gonna happen, right? So, like, it's just, I bet a whole range of emotions.
Yeah, so roller coaster, man. There are the moments of joy we would really celebrate because we were not able to feel that a lot of the times through the pregnancy. And then even once we got to, I think it was month 7, we find out, hey, you're a high risk pregnancy since the beginning, but you're probably gonna have to give birth in Stanford, because since your son has problems, this heart issue, we want to have all the equipment available for him.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa, man, like that raised the anxiety through the roof, through the sky, if you will, of like, what? Like, what is it? From my understanding at the moment, it was like, we don't know if he's going to make it once he's born. And it was like, God, like, we're finally here, and now I don't know if when he's born he's going to make it, Come labor, we find out my wife, she was at risk, and they were like, you need to give birth now because the only way you're going to survive is giving birth. So now as a man, it's like, wow, now it's not only my son, but now my wife too.
Dude, the risk is so high.
So high right there.
And during this time, like, I can only imagine what you're going through, right? Your feelings.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to, like we say, like, you're expected to be cool and calm.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to be, right? You have to be, because, you are the man of the family, the head of the household, but also, like, you're going through it.
Yeah, not only supporting yourself emotionally, but supporting your partner and your family, if you will, and letting your partner know, like, we got this. We're going to get through it. No matter what, you leave it up to faith, whatever happens. Because a lot of the times, one of my favorite quotes that I see a lot of the times out there is like, and it's very true in my opinion, you can't control the circumstances, but you can control your thoughts. Excuse me. Your not so easily your emotions.
Yeah.
And I encourage people that whenever they have to let emotions out, let them out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hold that in, and then you can't be in peace.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with me throughout this whole experience. I balled up a lot of emotions. I kept to myself, but all I could do was, like, leave it up to God, leave it up to faith, whatever was going to occur. I can't control whatever destiny has set for me, but I can control supporting my wife and trying to cheer her on and letting her know that no matter what was going to happen, that we had each other and we had faith, we had God, and that we were going to get through it. Like, we have gotten through many other obstacles in our short marriage, So it was pretty tough trying to be strong for myself and try to be strong, like letting her know, hey, we got this, and I thank her for appreciating that and letting me know, like, hey, thank you. I know everything you're doing, and I don't know what you're going through, but I appreciate that no matter what, you show a positive attitude in every appointment and in every conversation that we have, and no matter what. And I gotta thank God for giving me the strength to go through all of that, and helping her out. So it was tough. That's the main reason why I set Café con Pancast aside, because I told the public I'm gonna be giving you 110%, and at that time, I didn't even, I wanted to go back and be like, you know what, I'm gonna put this on hold, but I didn't even have the mentality or the patience to, like, I need to go out and put it like a brief episode saying I'm gonna go I'm gonna put a pause to this for a while.
So everything just kind of happened so fast.
Everything just happened fast. We were surprised when we found out we were pregnant. And,
well, you know what they say, like lucky number 7.
Yeah.
You know, lucky number 7. 7's God's number, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So he uses circumstances and uses, you know, different things, you know?
Yeah.
And so kind of fast forward a little bit, your son is born.
Yes.
You know, by the grace of God.
Yes.
You know, your son is born.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, because you're already a parent, right? You have a daughter.
Yeah, I have a daughter from a previous relationship. Yeah.
But then and not to downplay the birth of a child, but what was this like? What was this? You know?
It was man, I let my emotions out. I like wild, man. It was, like I said, not to downplay my daughter's birth, but this one felt really special. You know, the emotions were running, because to hear him, he was born, and there's a pause for like a few seconds, but it felt like minutes.
Yeah.
And then he finally lets out that cry. And I was like, Lord, I look up and I'm like, thank you. And I just like go to him, because we were told that as soon as he's born, he's going to be taken away. And Mom was like, prior to birth, she's like, not even a couple seconds, you know, with him. And she's like, well, Dad could follow us, but we're going to take him to the ICU or to the NICU right away. Yeah. And we were like, God, you know, we couldn't even really enjoy the birth either, you know, let alone my wife was going through something, and they had to attend to her, and then they had to attend to him. And so I told my wife prior, I was like, what do I do when this happens? She's like, go with him. I want you to be with him the whole time. And so he cries, they take him away, and the doctor's like, you know what? He's okay for a few minutes. Give him to Mom. We share the moment, you know? And then it's like, all right, let's take him to the NICU. And we go and to see him born, and finally I get to hold his little hand, his little feet, and see him. It's such a beautiful feeling, man. I feel like
a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah, like we're here, and now it's like, but now what's gonna happen? You know, I don't remember if prior to the birth or after birth. Immediately, then they tell us. Then this is the fun part, if you will. They're like, he's gonna get heart surgery in 3 days.
Oh wow!
So he's born, and immediately after birth, he gets heart surgery 3 days after birth. And again, so for that moment that he's born, and like one day we get to enjoy him as he is, you know, and it was beautiful to see my wife interact with him, for him to be moving around. I was able to bring my daughter or have her over, and she meets her sibling who she really wanted. She finally gets him, and unfortunately, that was the last time she saw him until maybe like 2 months after, because he had that heart surgery, and she did not want to see him in the state that he was. I apologize to my wife if, this is a little too much information, but he was intubated for 2.5 months. We didn't, again, everything's a roller coaster. And then people think we're at Stanford and they're just like overlooking him, watching him, but we did not get to hold him in our arms, for at least 2 months.
Yeah. That must be hard.
Yeah. The only thing our son could do, I remember, well, he was, would you say induced? I'm not sure. But no reaction from him for at least a month too, because he had open chest, and it was tough to see your little one like that, nothing. Yeah. And even closing the chest was difficult for them because of the swelling, because of other things going on with him. And being at Stanford, it was, well, before I continue, I want to thank the doctors and everyone who helped us, being there, all the nurses, everyone that helped us. They did a great job, and I thank God for them, because thanks to them and to their expertise, my son is now home. And so he's intubated for 3 months, and all he could do was literally like just roll his eyes left and right, up and down. That's all he could do. And even getting the breathing tube out was a hard process, to where he rejected it the first time. He had a lot of issues where the doctors were like, this is happening, that's happening. And obviously the only thing going through our mind was the fear of losing him, because we don't know what's going to happen with him, besides just trying to stay positive and hope for the best. And then again, now not only being there supportive and being strong for your son, but for your wife through the whole process. And it's tough seeing your partner just down, and then you're trying to be strong for them. I had to do a lot of like walks on my own. I had to take a lot of like me time and step out. I told her, like, you know what, I'd love to be here and support you, but I have to go and do my thing so that I could be 100% for you.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask, and I'm sure your wife supported you, but would you kind of look down on a little bit because of that? Again, because we talk about like the misconception of like, you got to be a man, you got to be there, you got to hold yourself, right? At any point where people were just supportive of you, or you just like, they're kind of like, well, dude, you got to be here, where are you going, or what are you doing?
Yeah, like my parents would be like, don't leave her alone, don't leave the baby. And I was like, really, my mentality, and I don't know how people will perceive it, but my mentality through it all, because we were staying at the Ronald McDonald housing. They had a little gym there, and for the last 3 years I've been going to the gym, and so that was kind of like my outlet. And my parents, my mom one time did tell me that it was like kind of selfish of me to, she's like, your son's in the ICU and you're working out. What are you doing? You're supposed to be there for your wife. Fortunately, my wife was supportive of it, and she understood. And I would go spend some time at the gym, let some stress out, and I felt way better coming back. We go back to opening up to people. We were offered counseling for parents who were in the ICU and the NICU, and it was very helpful for both of us, for myself, and thankfully the counselor totally understood that. Like, it's tough for you to not only be strong for yourself, but for her, and when people came to visit, I tried to not like break down or, fortunately there was not like moments like that. And again, what I wanted to say just a little minute ago was my mentality was, I go back to, you can't control your circumstances, but you can control your mentality. In that instance, I was like, I can't do nothing about him. He's in bed. A lot of the times he was sleeping. The doctors are here. Nurses are here. If something comes to happen, I'm only the Ronald McDonald was like a couple blocks away. I could drive back on my walks. I could just run back if something happens, you know. And I was like, I have no control over that, over what happens with him right now. But I have control over my emotions and my thoughts. I could go out, take a breath,
reset a little bit, get back to a baseline.
Yeah, correct. And I could come back refreshed. And they told us a stat. They're like, surprisingly, a lot of people that stay here tend to end up getting sick. And going through it, I was like, dude, I could see how people get sick. You just hear alarms going off, doctors rushing,
the stress of
the environment. You know, it was a nerve-wracking experience. But again, you get put through those experiences. I believe that God does, because He knows you're able to, you're able to put up with it. You're able to control.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, whatever you're never gonna bear too much than what you can handle. You know, and I feel like people sometimes take that and like, oh well, that's kind of like, what do you know? I was like, no, you know about it. You're like, no. We all have our limit.
Yeah,
and we're never gonna face something that's gonna be beyond our limit.
Correct.
You know, I think whatever we face is not only preparing us, but it's, you know, just like anything, like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You have to train it, because the more you train something, the more it's
better prepared for
the journey or whatever, you know,
when the situation arises.
Yeah,
definitely agree.
And so I tell people, whatever you're going through, you're able to handle it.
Definitely.
You know, God will never give you more than you can bear.
Correct.
You know, whether it's self-doing or just life happens or just a curveball, right? You're able to go through it if you're going through it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's something to know, right? Yeah. That should give you courage.
Yeah.
You know, encouragement. So
yeah, if I could give anybody, or if anybody that listens to this could take any advice from me right now, is whenever you're going through a tough situation, try to center yourself in where you're at and what you're doing at that moment. Yes, you cannot control the circumstances, but maybe take a deep pause, take a deep breath, and just be like, what can I do right now? You know, because, for example, a family member gets in a car accident, like it's happened to me recently, and you're kind of stressing what's going on with them. Are they okay? You know, well, all you could do at that moment, you can't do anything about their situation. They're already in the accident. Yeah. You know,
you're not a doctor. Yeah, you're not an ambulance. You know, you're not fighting. I mean, what can you do?
What can you do? And there's going to be a lot of people around you going crazy as well, you know, like about the same situation. So what you could do for yourself is, well, right now what I could do is calm down. And, well, this person's getting transported somewhere or whatever. And how can I get there? I need to relax. Maybe have a cup of water or something. Have a candy, you know. And
because a lot of times, a lot of accidents or mistakes happen is when we make a choice or decision based off our emotion or where we're at, right? It was so elevated in adrenaline or so elevated in emotions that even we could almost make the situation worse.
Correct.
Right?
Definitely.
If we're not calm.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right?
It's really tough.
I know it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, so it isn't easy, but like I said, just like anything, it's a muscle. You got to train it.
Yeah.
You know, and control what you can control. It's not 100% my story to tell, but, you know, there was an incident where my brother had to be taken away to Sacramento, right? They couldn't fly him because, you know, we're big boys, you know. They said, hey, there's a weight limit, you know, in a helicopter. So he had to drive from here to Sacramento because they couldn't do it locally. And so at the moment, like, what could we do, right? We were just like, what do we do? Like, you know, and, you know, he was in the best hands, right?
Correct.
And so it was like the only thing we could do is find a way to get up there, calm. You can't, you can't rush, because again, you let your emotions get the best of you, and find a way to get up there, right?
Yeah.
And that's all you could do. Get up there.
Yeah.
And sometimes the most smallest basic things is all you could do. But I think, like I said, you have to train yourself.
Yeah, you do. Even with the smallest circumstances, like even just like getting to work late, try to train yourself there. If you're late, my wife doesn't like it, but I was a truck driver, and so I got so used to driving 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And when we were late to something, I kind of was like, well, we're late. I'm not going to rush it.
Yeah.
We're late. There's nothing, me speeding through traffic, because I was a speedster back in the day. I've now realized it's like, dude, when you're late, you're late.
Yeah, you get there when you get there.
You get there when you get there, exactly. Yeah. And so sometimes, not all the time, sorry, babe, but she's like, can you step on it? I'm like, we're late. If we're late to get somewhere, it's like, you're what are you gonna save? Maybe like a minute or two, because I have done it in the past. I've sped through traffic. And what did I save? Like a minute or two. Is it worth swerving through traffic? And what you're saying about going to Sacramento, you said your brother was in the best hands. Correct. The same thing with my son. It's like he was in the best hands. Nothing. Me being there, I could not have done anything to help him. Yeah. The same with your sibling. Once you're driving up, the only thing you could do is try to get up there safely. Yeah. Because the last thing you want your brother, I don't know his situation or anything, but the last news you want him to get is, hey, your family got in an accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or on our way up, we got a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, a ticket's like the least of your worries, but,
and it's crazy because, like, just in general, right, in everyday life, you want to go somewhere, you go to an event or something, or either you're rushing to get there, or something happens that prolongs you, that makes you late. I learned this from a previous relationship. It's like, I'll get there when I get there, know, because, and it's happened to me a few times where I don't leave on time and I'm late, but then I find out, dude, there was an accident on that road,
right,
and that area we were going. It's like, oh crap, like everything in its timing, don't rush it. Don't rush it. So yeah, I get that. And so during this time, right. And it's crazy because you're going through these emotions. It's joy. It's anger, probably sadness. Like, it's a roller coaster. Yeah, it's spectrum.
It was a mix of emotions. Yeah. You're right. We felt joy to see the baby, but we felt like bad.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances that he was in.
Yeah. But like prior to you guys going to Stanford, you had mentioned that you were working and you guys kind of lost your house, and there was a lot. So there was a lot of things that were happening because like I said, we spoke off camera. Prior. A lot of things that are happening to you that led to this.
Yeah. So going back, it was late last year, probably like October, November, and we're going through all this stress of the pregnancy and whatnot, and then boom, well, my wife loses her car, it breaks down. We're like, damn, and then the other thing that happens is we get evicted from the house we were living at for 5 years.
Wow.
And we were like, what is going on, man? Like, we're going through all this mix of emotions, and then we get evicted. We did not understand at the moment. I didn't ask questions. I only asked, like, why, and I got a good answer, but I was like, why is this happening to me? What am I going to do? My wife was stressed. I was stressed. We were like, and then to break the news to my daughter as well. I let her know. Not even the day we found out. It wasn't until like a week later, and she was like, "Whoa!" Like, and I told her like, "Yeah, last week, did you notice anything? Like, our emotions?" No. I was like, "Well, because we always try to paint a pretty picture for you. We don't want you to stress about things, you know." And so we get evicted, and we're like crazy looking for housing and whatnot, and so we get that on top of us. And in the moment, we were like, "Why?" We didn't understand, and we were still looking. Fortunately, we were able to move in with some family members, but I was still asking myself, like, why is this happening to me, you know? And sure enough, we end up staying in Stanford for 3 months. Yeah. And at the end of it all, I was like, this is why God wanted it this way. I was going to stop working. My wife was already not working come December. And so we were like, we were not going to be able to put up with $3K a month.
Yeah.
And then there was, again, no need to be, in my opinion, paying $3K when we were not going to be there. Yeah. You know, so that's another reason why we decided, you know what, let's take the sacrifice. And fortunately, family is here and they're supporting us. And we were like, this is why God was like, I'm helping you. Yeah. You know, I'm not making you go through harder times. I'm making it easier for you, if you will.
Yeah, a lot of times things are that happen, right? And it's like almost like back to back to back. Like things are happening. Like, dude, what is going on? And we don't understand.
No.
100%. At the moment, we're like, dude, what's going on? Like, bad luck, like back to back. Like, you know, you lose your house, you lose your job, you know, your son. But I think with a lot of things, you kind of, at the end, in the future, you kind of see why. Yeah. Right? You figure out, like, oh, this is why this happened. And I'm a strong believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
You know? And you talked about your faith, you know, and so, you know, relying on God. And how did that, or what is that to you, right? Especially during these times.
Yeah.
You know, how did that play a role in these storms?
Yeah, no, well, I kept remembering the story of, is it Peter, when they're in the water and he tells him, come to me.
Yeah.
And they're like looking and Peter's like doubting, you know, and he's like, have faith. Don't you have faith in me? It's like, okay, you take that step. And I walked the whole experience with faith. I left it all in God's hands, everything. That's all I do now. I learned I have no control over. I only have control over certain things, you know, and the rest I left it all to Him. I was like, I can't do nothing. Just give me the strength to be. Give me the knowledge and give me the strength to support myself and my family. So I took him by the hand, and I walked through the storm, and I did not want to leave a second of doubt. There was never a doubt in my mind, fortunately. And it, like you said, it's a muscle, and it took a lot of will and a lot of repetition of going through experiences to prepare me for this experience, you know. And you learn slowly to let go. Yeah. Let go and let God, you know, because if you try to control everything, just like you were saying right now, sometimes you make the mistake and it turns the problem into a bigger situation. Yeah. You know? And so it took a lot of prayer, a lot of, I don't do it a lot, but a lot of like going down to my knees and just leaving it up to faith, praying and reassuring myself that no matter what happened, it was going to be the best for me and for my family. And I know it's easier said than done, way easier said than done, because people are probably listening to me and they're like, well, how are you going to be okay with it? You just have to be okay with it. Excuse me. Because trust me, like you said, in the moment you don't understand what or why it is happening. And it's not until down the road. So even if you make the mistake, then you're like, oh, well, if I would have been a little more patient, maybe things could have gone. Yeah. Now I see why. So that it took a lot of like me going against God's will and being like, no, but it can't go down like this, you know, I learned to let go.
Yeah, because it's like, let me handle it. Let me have the final say. I want to be able to, like, be the one to do it.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah. And you feel that responsibility of having to, wanting to, but you learn. And if people stop right now and they maybe reflect on situations in the past and they may realize that, hey, you know what, everything positive or negative, I'm good right now. And I could tell you right now, like, look, I'm, would you say, living proof that no matter how heavy the storm is, how bad it is, here I am sitting down with you. I went through it.
Yeah.
Because you can get through it. And it's a matter of having faith and just accepting the fact that you can only control so much.
Yeah.
Destiny, God, life, the universe, whatever people want to believe in, you know, it's it'll play out the way it has to play out.
Yeah.
And only faith, God knows why that happens.
Yeah.
And if I've learned to not ask why is this happening, but what can I learn from this experience? Yeah. And that's part of working out that muscle. What can I learn from this experience so that when it happens again, I am better prepared mentally, you know?
And you know what? That's super, super, super important. You know, my dad, you know, growing up, Damien told me that. Stop asking why or what, right? And I think that is a very taboo thing to say, right? What do you mean why? You should know why. You know, like why? It's like almost like a tantrum, like why, you know, like it's a self, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, yeah. Because it's like going back to that control. Yeah. Having that control.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I think with just anything in general, right? We want to know why. We want to know the answer. We want to know. It's just our nature.
Yeah, it is our human nature. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it is, I think, is selfish.
Yeah.
You know, from my experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with you.
It's the what, like you said, what is it that in this process I'm learning? What in this process am I gaining from it? I don't want to say lose, because you never lose.
No, I believe there is always something to gain from a negative experience.
It's knowledge. It's you learn.
Yeah.
You know, so I never see it that way. And I know a lot of people that I surround myself, or people that I know, see it too. And but it goes back to, like, it's a muscle. You have to train it. You have to work at it, right?
Yeah.
Because if not, then you're just gonna be like, why is this happening? And you know, kind of throwing a tantrum in life.
Yeah, I would encourage, when you talk about working out the muscle like we do when you go to the gym and whatnot, you're not gonna get a 6-pack or be super flexed in one day. You know, and even then, trainers, they tell you it takes patience. You know, just like getting your degree. You know, you're not gonna go take one course and say, hey, dude, you're a psychologist now.
Yeah.
You know, no, you take multiple years. You know, and speaking of that, it's like just like that. You don't know if you're gonna end up graduating, but you only control what you can. And you're like, I need to turn in my projects. I need to pay attention in class. Turn in another project by the time due. And when you mess up and you don't turn it in, or you lacked research and whatnot, you're like, what can I do to improve? So that goes as an example of, like, you can ask why. Maybe I I slacked off a little bit. You know, maybe I could do it better next time, and you improve. And that's the same thing with when life happens. Yeah. For example, my uncle passed away many years ago, and the lesson I took from that is, what can I do now? And I was very hurt because I lacked in communication with him when a lot of the times he tried reaching out to me. Yeah. And I felt even more hurt about that I did not take advantage of him, not in any wrong way, but I did not take advantage of the fact that he was here trying to talk to me, you know. And what I learned from that was try to communicate more with your siblings, more with your family. Yeah. You know, and I can say my relationship has improved very well with my family, even in Mexico. My uncle lived in Mexico. So even though I'm not able to visit them a lot or as frequently as I would like to, I am in contact with them, even with my family in the LA area or wherever they may be. I'm in more contact with them because in order for me to not feel as guilty or feel better, or in order to feel better about myself and my relationships with family members, it's like I could be in touch with them. Yeah. This way I don't feel as sad when this person is no longer here with me. You know, and that only improves your relationship with your family as well. You know? So that goes back to reaching out to people, even to friends, because you never know. My dad always, to this day, nos persinamos. We give each other the blessing, and he's like, it's because you never know. Right now I'm with you, and you might not make it home. Yeah, I might not make it to the end of the day. Yeah, you know. And so you always want to be in touch. I encourage people.
Life is too short.
Yeah, life is way too short, man. Yeah. And a lot of us, me younger, took it for granted. And we would say stuff like, something like, live fast, die young. Yeah. You know? And it was kind of like, why are we in such a rush to grow up as well, you know? And I saw this video the other day on social media, and it's very true, and I want to pass the message on. It said, the youth, you have 18 years of youth, and you have like 60 plus years of adulthood. Yeah. Enjoy your youth. Be a child. Yeah. Be that young teenager. Enjoy high school, because that goes, it's been 16 years since I graduated. Yeah. You know, how fast did that go by?
It's a trap, guys. Don't grow up.
Yeah, it's a trap.
It's a trap. We got bills. We got, you know.
Yeah. So I encourage kids and parents to pass this message on to their children. Like, you got 18 years to be young. Yeah. And you got the rest of your life to be an adult. Yeah. So enjoy those. I mean, maybe a kid becomes more conscious and aware by the time they're like 6 or 7. So they got 12 years. You got 12 years of youth, and you got the rest of your life to be an adult. So enjoy those 12 years. Yeah. That's what I tell my teenage daughter. I tell her, you have 5 more years of being a kid. You know, I'm like, enjoy it. Yeah. Because once you're 18, I'm not paying your cell phone anymore.
Rent's due on the 1st.
Rent's due on the 1st, you know. Yeah. And so I let your kids know, be a kid, be your age right now. You could be an adult for the rest of your life, and you're gonna find. I found out. I don't know about you, Eddie, but it's like, being an adult is fun. Yeah, but it's not as fun when you get the email, hey, your bill is due. Yeah. You got to pay your car insurance, etc. Yep. You know, it's like, wow.
Yeah, so take advantage of it. One of the things, you know, kind of going back to, like, you know, life is short, and, you know, your uncle passing away, and kind of going more into, like, right, also our theme, pride.
Oh, yeah.
Pride.
We have a lot of pride.
There is a lot of pride in general, you know, in this world. Pride comes before the fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But amongst men, too, in our culture, a lot of egos, a lot of pride, right? And and the reason why I bring it up and kind of going back to, like, life is too short. Just recently had a cousin pass away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And, you know, we grew up with them a little bit, but, you know, they moved away, him and his sibling and his side of the family, like, life, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there was a point where he kind of came back, and, we would hang out and get along. But, family dynamics, life happens, right? People move away, like siblings, cousins, uncles, and aunts. It's just life is life.
Yeah.
Right. And so there wasn't like too much of a connect, like keep it in touch, right? We knew they were out there, but then a couple weeks ago, find out, passed away. And it's funny how, like, you always seem to see family at funerals, right?
Yeah.
At all these major deaths in the family. Yeah. That's the only time you really see family.
Yeah.
Right. And so it got me thinking, right? And I, as who I am, I try to stay connected with all my cousins. I have my immediate family. I have my cousins here in town, but, I have relatives everywhere. So I try to stay as connected with them, right? Because you don't want to, like you said, sometimes we get regrets or we neglect or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm trying to get at is life is too short to hold grudges.
Yeah.
Life is too short to hold on to things, and it's a Mexican thing. How many times stories do we hear of family members or tias, uncles, like not going years without speaking to someone?
Fighting over property
and all this stuff. It's like, dude, you don't even go to Mexico. Why do you complain about that? You know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pride.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to, forgive my language, but let that shit go.
Yeah.
Life is too precious. I mean, we're talking about your child,
Yeah.
That in itself is a miracle. That's precious.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna like talk, or you're gonna have grudges or hold over. Oh, he ate the last pan dulce. Little funny. Petty stuff. Dude, that's as low as it gets.
Yeah.
So, we need to learn how to do that. We need to how to let go and forgive and let bygones be bygones. And people say, well, it's easier said than done. Like, 100%.
Oh, hell yeah.
I get it 100%. Yeah. But imagine that feeling, right? And what I felt when I went to go to my cousin's funeral was like, man, like I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I'm seeing him here, and so. But imagine this: having a relative, someone close, friends, dude, and the last thing you said to them or whatever, grudge, like there was a dispute and you had this grudge with them, and then finding out, hey, they passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and well, hopefully you're a person with heart and you're kind of like, damn. And you're not like
one of those people.
You deserved it.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know? Hopefully not. But the person that I am as well, it's like I would have a hard time accepting that person's death because you don't want to leave things that way. I think, like, for example, when people say like resting in peace, I think that's that plays a part in like forgiving and leaving everything in good terms. That's to me like resting in peace. You don't leave with grudges. You don't leave with debts. Because I don't know if you have heard, like, in our Mexican, would you say, like folk tales and whatnot, like, oh, your tia spirit is there in the house because she left with a grudge, or so I heard the story that when they R.I.P. to my tia, a long time ago, but that when they were trying to take her casket through the doors of the cemetery, like, it was tough to get through, not because the door was narrow, but because a certain weight came upon them. And she had a granddaughter who, or my cousin, who had a lot of like like special needs, if you will. And so my family says that she did not want to leave because she attended to her grandchild heavily. I remember. So yeah, I myself have some things to work on as well. I was talking about my siblings, and I'm open to speaking about it, but it's a lot of work to do, and I'm totally in agreement with that. We need to excuse my language too. We got to let shit go. Yeah, you need to, for your own peace. In my mind, I feel like I've left it, and I am just waiting for that person to accept whatever mistakes they made and accept that I made a mistake as well. And I feel like I'm ready to like forgive and just like leave it aside.
Yeah. And it looks different for everyone, right? Yeah, it looks different for everyone because there's this saying, right? And I get it. Sometimes like one person is like willing and the other person isn't, right? And so not that there's a clash, but it's like, okay, one person is willing to just let bygones be bygones, bury the hatchet, right? But then there's another person who's just like, nah. They hold on to
you talk about pride,
right? Yeah. And so this is also something that it's okay, right, to forgive and move on.
Yeah.
If the opposing person is not willing, it's not up to you to like change that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also going back to like control what you can control.
Yeah.
We want to like, oh, you're like, no, and it's okay. Because sometimes, for example, kind of going back to my mom, right? For years, I had this grudge towards her, the hurt, her loving my younger sibling. Like, where was that with us? Like, all this stuff, right? And my dad says, don't let it eat at you. You got to, whatever,
I was getting the same advice, man. So I could totally relate to that.
So finally, I forgot when it was, but like I said, it was mid-20s. It's just like, I let it go. I don't know what God did in me, but I forgave.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I was just like, a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Right? And so, because sometimes even we could be mad at someone and they forgot what.
Yeah.
Right?
You're over here. It's like that. I'm sure you've heard it. You're holding a piece of coal in your hand.
Yeah.
That's that anger, and that person's over there like Charlie, and it pisses you off even more.
It's like, you should know why I'm mad. You should,
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're allowing someone to live rent free in your head.
Yeah.
And they may not even remember or forget, about it. And so you yourself, within yourself, have to let it go. And I think that's something that, as men too, that we struggle with, our pride.
Yeah. Exactly, because like we were saying throughout the whole conversation, we're like held to a certain level of like responsibility, and machismo and whatnot, that you're kind of like, well, I'm not gonna forgive Eddie because I need to be strong, and I'm not gonna like bow down to him or
show weakness
towards him, or I'm gonna let people know, oh yeah, Eddie did this to me, but I'm over here. I'm better than him. Yeah. I'm tougher than him. Whatever, while you're over here just chilling.
Yeah, doing my thing.
Doing your thing. Yeah. And I'm over here. It happened with me. You're just like, you're talking smack when that person is just right there having a good time.
Yeah.
But you find someone wants to make a comment or something, you're like, boom.
Yeah.
I got a lot to say about this person. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you think you know him or her? Well, excuse me, here's a little something you didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times you think you're implying you're affecting that person, but a lot of the time you're affecting yourself by just speaking about them. Mm-hmm. And then now whomever you're speaking to, they're kind of like, damn, that guy has a lot of like anger towards that person.
Yeah.
and they're not even focused on the person you spoke about. They're focused on you.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with him? You know, and that happened to me because I spoke bad about someone, and a lot of the attention came to me. Like, well, what's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
You know, and then I did a little bit of research on myself, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I allowing this person to like ruin my day?
Yeah.
You know, why am I allowing myself to speak bad on them when they're not doing anything to me anymore? And and you're talking about trying to control the other person. It's hard enough to try to control yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I've read this in books. It's hard enough to try to control yourself and control your emotions. How much harder could it be to try to change someone else's thoughts and way of being, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of those times you just got to let that person be.
Yeah.
And if you don't like something they're doing, don't do it yourself.
Yeah.
You know? And
what is this? Is this saying this verse that says, "Why are you so concerned about the speck in your neighbor's eye when you got a big old log in yours?"
Yeah, man.
You know, it's
exactly.
like, oh, okay. Yeah.
And I've been learning to a lot about myself in that sense. It's like, well, what is this person doing, or how much better am I than this person when I'm looking at all their negatives, but here I am doing them as well.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's another thing. As men, we hate to look at ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I had a hard time accepting myself for who I was.
Yeah.
Like, going back to my upbringing, I was bullied when I was really young. And so I had a hard time accepting myself, you know, for who I was. And it's true what you say, man. A lot of us men, I don't know, women, they're usually getting ready. A lot of the times they're doing their hair more, etc. But I found it really hard to stand in front of a mirror and look at myself and say, like, I love you.
Yeah.
To yourself. You know, it is very tough. Let alone, we're having a conversation right now. We're looking at each other.
I know.
Eye to eye, and it's kind of like your buddy. What are you looking at me for, dude? Or you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Take a picture, it lasts longer.
Yeah. Like, we have a lot of, because again, like we said, this stigma of like, oh, you're doing this and it's girly. You know? I had, speaking of that, a buddy of mine, he's on a weight loss journey, and he made a comment the other day. He's like, oh, look at us. Because we were commenting ourselves. You know, there's nothing wrong with commenting ourselves. And he was like, dude, I'm really happy with my weight loss, the process I've been going through and whatnot. He's like, but I wish this, I wish that, you know, but I'm going to work towards it. He's like, look at us having girly conversations about how we look and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I know we're just like talking smack, but I was like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, being impressed, or sharing it with me.
Yeah.
You know, or sharing it with anybody, like, dude, I've been doing this and doing that. Like, I look good or whatever, you know? And it's like, why do we do that? Like, why do we hold that against us, like, where we can't talk about how good we look or how bad we look, whatever, you know? I don't see it. I personally don't see a problem with it. And I don't hesitate to tell my guy friends, like, hey, dude, I love you.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like, dude, I do. I do love you. And when you and I met, I reached out for a hug, like, oh, thank you, dude, for having this conversation with me. And a lot of the guys, we do like these half hugs, you know.
I do get that full on bear hug,
that
dude.
Full on bear hug, exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, you know.
Yeah, that little, like you said, like we were saying, that little embrace could change your day.
Yeah.
And it could change your perspective of that person and kind of make you feel more comfortable with yourself and with them. Yeah. You know, to where you can open up a little more. You know, and I encourage the youth to try to let those egos go, man, of like, I can't do this with my guy friend. You know, I can't hug it out. I can't speak emotionally.
Yeah.
Because we need that. We need to help each other out and build each other up. Just like, I admire all these movements from women, like Mujeres Unidas and whatnot, like build each other up and whatnot. Well, men have a right to do it, not and help each other out, encourage each other to do good, and not just like bully each other, because man, we're bullies, we're strong, and we're always picking on one another and calling each other by like rude nicknames, and I think it's time that we start changing that. And I think that our generation, the millennials, kids born in the 90s and whatnot, maybe some parents from the 80s, we're in an era where it's more accepting now. And I encourage them to, if they see especially their sons, not pay attention to women, like, yeah, go ahead. But your sons, like, talk to them that it's okay. Sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation with them and let them know that it's okay to listen to their friend.
Yeah.
It's okay for them to go reach out to the counselor or to their coaches in school and let them know, hey, I got this issue going on. And as a parent, listen to your kid and let them know what's going on. How can I help you? And instead of like how my parents were like, oh, shut up and, grow, be a man.
Yeah.
Listen to them and encourage them to go out and help. And as yourself, go as a parent, go out and support yourself of how you could be a better parent and how you could better listen to your child.
Yeah. And I think, going back to what you said, looking yourself in the mirror, say, one, looking at yourself and reflecting and working on yourself.
Yeah.
But like you said, looking at yourself in the mirror, say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's going to be very, I don't want to say controversial, but it's like, whoa, love you. Of course I love myself. And it's like, no, dude, like, you got to love yourself.
Yeah, like really, your defects, everything, and mistakes that you have done. Like, we go back to destiny and faith. A lot of the negative stuff that I did growing up, hopefully they reach you in time, or you find something to help you grow and change. And a lot of the stuff that I went through during that time, I thank God for everything negative that I went through, because it only made me the better man that I am today. And a lot of the times back then, it was like, why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? Well, now
you see,
I see why, and I feel the need to help be the voice to reach our younger generations, our generations, even older, everyone, and let them know what we can do to better the world as a society and as a nation and as a world overall. Because all of this division that is going on right now, all of these messages that are being sent through social media of how we should be living, we need to pay attention to all that and see, is that really how we want to live?
Yeah.
Do we want to live divided? Do we want to live at such high standards? Yeah. Don't hold yourselves to such high standards.
Yeah.
Because everyone's out there, like you said, we're trying to have the latest phone, the newest pair of sneakers, the cleanest shirt.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, that's nice too, but that joy only lasts.
It's temporary.
It's temporary joy.
One of my things, and I too, I am a man of faith. I try to be a man of faith. I try to live my life not based on the world standards, right? Because like I said, like, dude, this world is, it's like this image, this toxic, masculinity, like, machismo, and they're telling you this how you should be, this like, and I too, like I said, growing up, I was a people pleaser too, right? And I try to like please people, but now as an adult, as a man, and I still got a lot of growing, Oh my gosh, dude! Like I look at myself in the mirror, man. Like I am so imperfect. I'm not perfect, and I've accepted that.
Yeah.
But I try to live every single day how God wants me to live, right? How, and the example is right, and people are right now, but I try to live as much as possible accordingly to what Jesus wanted us to be, right? Be Christ-like, right? And in this world right now, that's a hot take, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you heard what happened the other day, and there's a lot of things, right? And the minute someone brings up Jesus or brings up God, it's like blacklisted.
It's taboo.
You're blacklisted. I'm not going to listen to your podcast anymore already because you talked about Jesus.
Yeah,
canceled. Cancel culture, but I acknowledge that God is the way.
Right.
I know that I need to live Christ-like, and I need to walk by faith, and that's my role model. So I don't look at the world's, standards. I look at how God sees me and how He wants me to live and be, you know, and it's hard because that in itself, again, it's taboo.
Yeah, if you're looked at as a weaker man, almost, because you're kind of like, what, what do you mean, God? You start,
you're religious and this and this and that.
You start getting bullied for it.
Oh yeah,
you're like, well, ahí viene el santo.
Yeah,
here comes the saint.
And they're like, oh, you're a holy roller, or this, like, bro, like I am far from being perfect. Oh my gosh, I am. People are like, oh, you go to church. I don't go to church because, dude, I go to church because I'm broken.
Yeah,
I go to church because I'm not perfect and I make mistakes, man.
A lot of people tell me too at work. I was getting judged a lot because they were like, "Oh, I thought you were a holy man. I thought you were going to church." I'm like, I go to church because I'm a sinner, man.
Yeah, I
go to church because I'm not perfect. I go to church because I'm broken. There's a lot of things that I haven't learned. I love this phrase in Latin. It says, "Doctrina est infinita." Knowledge is never ending.
Yeah,
is what it is, and you never stop learning.
No, never.
You never stop learning, and even to this day with podcasts, I encourage people to hit the books, go out and read books, self-help, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that we do not know, but we think we know it all, and that comes with the pride,
Yeah.
And what Jesus taught everyone was to love one another and let go of egos.
Yeah.
And to accept everyone the way they were, It says it in one of the verses, like, well, if my brother does this to me, how many times am I supposed to forgive him? 70 times 7. Yeah. And you're like, so infinitely? Yeah, because you can only control yourself.
Yeah.
And if that person wants to continue doing what they're doing, then so be it. Accept them the way they are.
Yeah.
And then teaches love and brotherhood, sisterhood, family, unity, and it a lot of people, I've noticed that and this is something that you could look online too, a lot of people are starting to go back to religion, and I believe that the reason why is because they're seeing everything going on with the world and how there's like no control.
Yeah.
And I did not take any AA classes in my sobriety, but you notice how and I don't want to speak for them, I don't know their main reason why, but I believe that they lead a lot of people to religion because there's structure. And where there is structure, they say, what was that? I forgot how it went, but you have to build a strong foundation.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a strong foundation, then that brother's going to fall.
Yeah.
Back to his bad habits.
Yeah.
And I think that's one reason why a lot of people are going back to religious, because it like makes sense.
Yeah. And not just that, like so many things, people have tried so many things.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you try this, you try that, and none of it is fulfilling. No. None of it fills that void, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that sometimes, you know, people are so angry or they're so just like, you know, faith, religion, whatever, you know, and they may say, yeah, I'm happy that I live my life, but there's always that emptiness that regardless of what anyone ever says.
Yeah.
Oh, well, science can't prove it. Okay, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has a void.
Yeah.
Everyone has a void.
Everyone goes out in public or they post on Instagram or whatever, social media, and they're like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But then you come home and you sit down on your bed and you're like, dude.
Everyone, no matter what. I don't care how much money you have, how much education you have, you know, how much, you know, family you have, how much, you know, successes you have. I mean, every single person in this world, right? There is a small void.
Yeah, you could.
There's something there that you know is there, and it cannot. It's there.
Yeah.
Someone proved me wrong. Look deep down inside you. You know, look at yourself in the mirror. There's something there.
There's some sort of issue. You're talking about rich people and whatnot. All these celebrities that commit suicide.
Yeah.
A lot of us wonder, like, well, they have what? Why would they do that? They're rich. They could do anything.
Yeah.
There's that void that money can't fill, that luxury can't fill, you know? And there's nothing wrong with growing up and wanting to be wealthy.
Yeah.
You know? But it's not going to fill it. There's a song that says, I had the world, but it couldn't fill me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not going to fill you. It's never going to satisfy you, because at the end of the day, you have to go back home, or you're driving back down, and you're as a truck driver, you have a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
You know, you're paying attention to the road and whatnot, to your job, but there's a lot of things going through your mind.
Yeah.
You know, so you come home after the party and the hangover, whatever, and now you have a lot of time to think.
Yeah.
And now the party's over. Now the high is done. That little adventure that you had is over and done with, and boom, reality hits you again. You're like, you know what? I have to go back to work. Fuck, I got to pay these bills. Excuse me. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah.
And there's that little void in there. And then again, why are you out there partying? Right. What are, like you asked me earlier, what were you trying to fill? You know, what were you trying to satisfy? And that's where I think I try to fill that void with the faith that I have, and the knowledge that you gain from reading the Bible, from reading books and whatnot.
And let me ask you.
Yeah, go.
Right? Because of that, is that void filled?
Because of reading the Bible?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
That empty space that you have, you fill it with the grace of God and the Holy Spirit, knowing that there is somebody that cares and loves for you, that's encouraging you to do better. Yeah. And it's a void that not the highs, not my friends that I partied with, nothing could have satisfied. Yeah. And it doesn't satisfy me. Nothing satisfies me more now than like going to church with my family and seeing them, and I look at them and I'm like, thank you, God, for these loving people that you have for me. My wife that helped me through my struggles and supports me still to this day with all the changes that I need to make, and that I support her. My daughter, who's now teaching me things. I'm learning a lot more about myself with my daughter and my son as a parent, you know, and as a husband. It made me a better man overall, like I said, instead of carrying this ego with me, you know, it taught me humility. It taught me to be humble, caring, loving, and understanding that there is a way bigger picture out there than just myself. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's that's it right there. You know, that's the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, and so and again, I'm not preaching. I'm not shoving anything down anyone's throat, but that's our reality.
Yeah, it's I'm not gonna try to with the podcast and through this episode, I'm not going to try to convert people, you know, but all I can say is give it a try and see what it does with you, you know, and do it with an open heart. And if it works out for you, great. And you will see the change. It'll open up your mind, and all that negativity that clouds you and whatnot, you will see everything different. I wake up now and life is way different for me, you know. And it's funny, we're given this free will. I read the Quran, I practiced Buddhism, I went everywhere, soul searching to find myself, quote unquote, and I ended up falling back to what my parents originally raised me with. So it was like, you know what, and I mean, whatever it may be for people, you know, but give it a shot and let yourself be open to it. You will be taught humility, and you will understand that everything you're going through, there's a reason behind it. It doesn't just happen just because.
There's always a plan. There's always,
and if you make a mistake, mistakes are made, and you could always recover from them. Hopefully, it's not too late, and you will. You know.
Dang, man. Just good stuff. Good stuff. You know, and so now you like we said, this is kind of like the gateway to Café con Pancast. You know, we're gonna be hearing more about what you're gonna be doing, you know, and in the coming months or weeks or so, you're gonna be launching it back up, you know. And so I'm very excited to see, you know, it coming, and I encourage men out there to open up and allow yourself to not just feel, but have those conversations. Seek help. Seek help, right? Sometimes, and for those that know someone, right, dude, reach out. Be that light. Be that, again, just a text message. Just a call or something. To change someone's life.
I'm gonna be trying to put it back together, relaunch it, and reach out to people like yourself and bringing them on, talking about, having conversations like this. We could talk about just what's going on, daily life, sports. I see you with your Niners shirt.
Bang, bang, Niner gang. I know he's wearing a Seahawks. You know, it's funny because I have a Seahawks beanie. So I love football, right? I grew up playing football. You know, it molded me and shaped me into the man I am. You know, it had an impact in my life. I, was a coach. But I just never got caught up in this whole, like, growing up, the Niners, Raiders, I never got caught up into this, like, being a fan of one team. Right? Because, like, as I got older and I saw, like, dude, people are crazy, dude. They're fanatics.
These fights. And
fights. And I've been to, like, games where people are like, dude, what's going on? This guy just got stabbed at a Niner game or something like that, or a big fight, And so I don't like to get caught up in that, I mean, when it comes down to it, I represent the local team, right? Local professional team. But I enjoy the sport, and I enjoy the different players from different cities and just organizations because I know what it takes, in that sport.
Correct.
So, dude, I'll watch a Browns game. I'll watch a Seahawk game. I'll watch.
We're talking about pride, man. We got to go to games and just enjoy the experience, man. I know that's another thing. We gotta stop the fighting.
When I go to games, like, I know people cheer, and again, it's to each their own. But I'm just, like, locked in. Like, I just sit there. I'm like, dude, I'm just locked in on the game. Just everything. And something happens, yes, I'll cheer here and there, but just most part, like, dude, I'm just gonna, like, sitting there, like, watching, because I'm enjoying it. That's my way of enjoying it. So
I'm telling you, I'm very social. I like when I sit around crowds of the opposing team. I like to talk to them and build a good relationship. And again, just like you, I mean, I've become a fan of specific teams, and I do hold that pride. Like, this is my team, bro. So I will talk a little smack, maybe a lot more than I should. But I like to talk to the opposing fans and praise their team as well, because you're wearing a Patrick Willis jersey right now. I love that guy, dude.
Oh, dude,
he was a beast, you know. And I've learned to admire players because I see the sacrifices that they make too. We wonder why they're getting paid so many millions of dollars. Yeah, it might sound lucrative and whatnot, but these people are sacrificing their times away from their family, flights, traveling for our entertainment. You know. And so I've learned, and hopefully people could have a change of perspective and learn to admire the sports as a whole, and not just, you know,
the team and this and that. My goal is to like try to visit every single NFL stadium.
That would be sweet, man.
You know, so
I think every fan would love to do that.
Oh yeah, just go on a road trip, dude. Bam, bam, bam. But you gotta have a little bit of money for that.
Yeah.
So, but I've been to a few. And then I actually passed by CenturyLink when I went to Seattle years ago.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a good time.
Yeah.
So, we talked about, like, you gave some advice, and you kind of, people saw like your point of view and your take on it. But if you were to leave someone with advice, words of wisdom, right? Your legacy, I guess, if you will, like what is it that you want people to take from this and just, you know, you leave them with?
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot.
I wasn't ready for this one, but I guess the only real thing I could say is that have faith that you will get through any obstacle in your life. Leave it up to faith, leave it up to destiny, and only control what you can control in the moment. You know, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
You will weather the storm. You will go through it, and you will come out victorious. You know, there is nothing all crazy and whatnot, but there is nothing in your life that you can't do or can't get over.
Yeah.
You know, I encourage people to go out, talk to someone, get help if they need to. Men, women, encourage yourselves, your partners, your kids to go out and get the necessary help possible. It will not only benefit you, but it will benefit your family. And I'm a firm believer that you will be that spark in your family, your entire family, that it'll encourage them to even be a better person, because I have seen it in my entire family where I don't mean to boast, nor do I hold myself up in a pillar, but it's like they see what I've been through and what I constantly go through, and it like encourages them to go out and get help, to be better, and to accept the fact that we only have control over so little things, and that we will come out out of that storm with a positive note, hopefully. You know, or not hopefully, but you will. You know, you most definitely will. I cannot say that enough. You will get through the storm, and I'm sure you're in agreement with that.
100%. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how hard and how dim or just how dark it is. Just keep on moving.
Yeah, and if anybody ever needs any help or words of encouragement, feel free to reach out to me. You could DM the Instagram page, Café con Pancast, on Instagram. And I'm on X too, if you're on X, a.k.a. Twitter. Café con Pancast. Feel free to reach out, and I will gladly listen and maybe hope to guide you, you know, or help. I'm not a professional, but I believe that I can help people. Just listen to them if they want to. No judgment, no nothing. You know, so
there you go.
Yeah, man.
There you go, man, dude. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Eddie, for reaching back out to me and bringing me on. I'm glad that we were able to do this.
Yeah, and I hope this reaches people. I hope this reaches if any youth watch it, I hope any men, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're here. This is what we're here to network, and we're here to support.
Yeah.
Just anyone in general.
Yeah. Share the pod and let people know about it. Let people know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and anything that they could pass on to someone else.
Yeah.
It'll be of great help.
Yeah.
I firmly believe.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Miguel, Café con Pancast. And make sure you guys watch out and check it out.
The relaunch.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Miguel.
Yeah.
Guys.
Thank you, Eddie.
I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless. See you guys. Peace.